Hi guys, today we're going to do some booties. You can't very well see that, can you? See if I can put something behind it. This is the pattern I use for making baby booties. It's called Flower Loom Booties. It's by Jennifer Stark. I will put the link in the comments below. I know you can't really read all of that. I'm showing you because it's a free pattern to get online. This is the one that I use to kind of go off of for when I make baby booties. Let's see. She uses 3 to 4 strands of baby yarn held together as one. I tend to not do that. So this is what we're going to do. This is the type of yarn that I'm using. It's from Hirschner's. It's the Baby Ultra Fleece. But I'm going to be using it in purple because that's one I've already got open versus opening a new one. But I want you to see the type. It is 3.5 ounces, which is 108 yards. It's the number 5 bulky. And I only use it, if I can get to the end, just like that as a single strand. I don't add anything to it. From one full one, I usually get at minimum 2 sets of 2 hats, 2 sets of baby mittens, and 2 sets of little booty socks. And usually I have a little bit left over. Now, her directions say for the cuff to cast on 12 pegs and to join it in the round. So you can use whichever cast on you want. I tend to do the crochet cast on. So I use a G size 4 crochet hook. You're going to need your flower loom, of course, your scissors, and your hook. And mine has something on it. Mine has yarn left on it. Let me take off the bracelets because I know they're going to get in my way. Okay, so I'm going to put this screen down here in a minute so it can record so you guys can see what I'm doing. So you're going to cast on however, within the whole computer, you want to do your cast on. I'm just going to hold it. I tend to hold it, so I'll probably do it like this, but I'll try to do it so you guys can see. For me, here's the anchor peg. So I always use the one to the right of the anchor peg as my peg 1. I know a lot of people for the crochet cast on will loop it here and then cast on all the way around. I prefer to actually do it on peg 1 and tighten it up. And then catch my tail this way. I'm going to try to do this while holding it. See if I can do this very well. I'll probably be a little fumbly during this one because I'm using my laptop versus my actual video camera, so I can go straight to uploading and not have to transfer. So I'm crochet casting on. I did grab the cast on string, the tail, this little piece here. I did catch it on peg 2 and weaved it in, and at this point I'll leave that little piece and I'll snip it off after I do the rest of the casting on. That way I don't have to weave in my ends. I don't like to weave them in. Okay. But she just says cast on, so I'm assuming you could probably use whichever cast on you want, whether it's the E-wrap or sorry, my computer keeps changing colors. It's based, I have a light to my right and a light above my head, and as the light keeps changing around me with my hand shadowing it, it's causing the picture to change. I'm not used to trying to show people as I do this, so I'm a little slow. I always make at least one way too loose. Sorry. And you'll probably hear my phone go off a lot, so if you wonder what the weird background noises are, it's just my phone making noises. But I'm not that worried about it. Okay, I'm at the last one. I'm going to push down peg 1, slip that on, and now I have crochet casted on all of my pegs all the way around. and by going back onto peg 1, join them in the round. Okay, now for the next 6 rounds, which is the cuff of the booty. I feel like you guys smashed a little too hard. You're going to knit 1 and purl 1. So get that down. And these, once you really get going on these, it doesn't take that long to do it. Knit 1 over and purl 1. Okay. The hardest part of this entire booty will be the heel section, just for a little bit, because it gets a little confusing if you're not careful, except for I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. Knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. I'm knitting. And yes, I do that quite a bit. I always seem to forget what I'm doing and have to go back and talk myself around the loom. Now to keep track of your stuff, you can use paper or apps or whatever it is. That's not right. I should be purling right there. No, I was right. I'm knitting. So that's round 1 complete. Only thing I didn't do was get my app open. 1 second. And I'll show you the app. This is just one of several that I use on my iPad. This is one that I use because you can hit here or there to kind of keep track. Your reset button's at the top, except for I can't do it because I'm upside down. I don't know what I just hit. But this is the counter I use on my iPad. I don't know. But it's acting weird. I'm not gonna mess with it. I don't know what's up with that. We will instead switch to my phone, which has a little app called Count. You just do like that, adding and subtracting. So we've done 1. So if you're doing it with me and stay with me, we'll have the count that way. I'm just gonna do the entire booty, probably on screen. I don't know if I'll actually turn it off or not, because I don't know. So we are now on round 2. And I'm figuring there's no use in really showing knitting and purling, because chances are you've probably done this for a while and know how to knit and purl. We know knitting over, purling is under. So I probably will pause this when we do the leg section, mainly because I don't think y'all want to sit here watching me. So it's 2. That made 3. So we are halfway done with the cuff already. And if you're looking down the center of your loom, or even if you're just watching me do it first, and you're watching down the center of mine, you already see the cuff coming through. And I have to say, I've actually taken this pattern and adapted it to make footy socks for me. So it is doable. You just have to figure out the number of rows. Mainly because the slipper socks that were a little with thicker yarn, I didn't like them. So I decided to make some with this. And I did something wrong in there, but I'm not going to worry with it, because I should have purled that one and not knitted it. So you have to watch what you're doing. Thankfully, this is a little more forgiving. I'm not going to actually probably keep this sock. I don't know if I'll keep it or not, or frog it. I don't know. We'll see if it looks messed up really bad whenever I get done. Mainly because I don't like going back to fix it. If it does look bad, I can always give it to my daughter to use for her doll, because her doll won't mind. Okay. And guess what? We are already on the very last round. So one more round to go. And then the cuff will be done. And minus all of my talking, it took under 10 minutes. Knit the last purl. Oh, look at one more purl. So this is the last knit, the last purl, and that officially gives me 6 for the cuff. So there's the cuff done. Next we're going to do the leg. This one I will probably I'll stop the video and then come back to it. The next one, for the leg portion, we're going to do 10 rounds of flat knitting. So flat knitting is just taking and laying it across the front. Same way you were doing the knit earlier. I tend to still go around the way I was the knitting. And I just kind of do that the entire time. And hold it with my other hand. For me, it's easier that if my yarn will stay out of my way. So just go over. So this is a really, really easy pattern. Okay. We are almost back to the beginning. So there is round 1. Clear that out. And I know some people like to just like lay it in the front like that. Once you pull down of course you're working your last round. Some people can lay it like that and then just do just like that. Pick up your bottom over your top. Whichever works for you, however you want to do it. It's up to you. My biggest problem with this, especially with this fluffy yarn, as you can see, like I haven't knitted this one off yet, but it's like it gets really close together if I'm not careful. And it makes it really hard to see. Like, see how I almost tried to knit off my working yarn, which wouldn't have done me no good. So I prefer kind of just holding it with my other hand behind it so that I know I'm hitting every peg. It's 2. My yarn ball just wants to keep getting in the screen. Or even I'd sometimes do 2, like I just did. For me, it's about control. So then I can just kind of peg is very wobbly, like that. So however you need to do it to do your flat knitting for those 10 rounds, that is totally up to you. Okay, so we are officially done that round now. It's just 3. So you'll just keep going like this and do a total of 10 rounds, and I'll meet you back here because after this, after these 10 rounds, we're going to start on the heel. So finish that up and I'll meet you guys back here in just a couple minutes. Okay, so I am back. I've done my 10 rounds. I'm going to reset the counter. Now, we're going to do the heel, and I'm going to try to do this so that you guys can see it directly on the camera. I'm trying to unravel me some extra yarn so I'm not messing with the yarn ball flying in front of us as we're doing this. Okay, so what we're going to do is knit pegs 1 through 5. So 1, 2, and continue doing them the same way I've been doing it. I'm just going to probably fumble a little bit more because I'm trying to do it so you guys can see. So 1, 2, then 3, 4, and 5. Over. Now, you're going to lift the stitch off of peg 6, and you're going to wrap peg 6 and replace it. I always go in front and then around behind to kind of keep it on there. And then put that one stitch back on. Now we're going to come back across the same way we just went, and we're heading back towards peg 1. We're only going to use from here to here, the first 6 pegs, half of the loom. Now we're going to knit off, and we'll do them one at a time because this is where it starts getting funny. We're going to knit peg 5, then peg 4, peg 3, then we're going to knit peg 2, and then the same thing we did to peg 6, we're going to do to peg 1. Okay, so we're going to lift, stitch off of 1 and hold it back here. Take the working yarn, wrap it around. I go from front to back. Put peg 1, stitch 1 back on. Now we're going to knit pegs 2, peg 3, and peg 4. Oh, sorry, my finger's in your way. Then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to lift off, stitch 5, wrap the peg, slide it down, stitch back on of 5, Then we're going to knit 4. It doesn't want to knit. Ugh. Then we're going to knit peg 3. And then we're going to lift off stitch on 2. We're going to wrap it, push it down, put stitch 2 back on. Now we're going to knit peg 3. We're going to knit peg 4. And then on peg 5, okay, we've already got, see if I can separate. See how we've already got 2 on peg 5? Leave those together. Put your string there. You're going to get both of those and knit both of them over as 1. So now 5 is back to having 1 piece of yarn on it. Now we're going to lift both stitches off of peg 6. We're going to wrap peg 6. And here's the hard part, is getting them both back on to peg 6. I kind of sometimes take one of them off because I find it easier. If you have to, you can unwrap this one when you put it back on. That's totally up to you. This is really hard to do so that you guys can see it. That peg, that stitch is back on that peg. My fingers are still holding the other stitch. So I'm going to get that stitch, put it back on. So now I've got 3 stitches on this one. Then we're going to knit our way back across. So we have, so there's 5. There's 4. There's 3. Knit both pegs on 2. Knit both of them over as 1. We're going to lift both of the stitches off of peg 1 and wrap it. And then put them both back on. It's up to you if you want to try putting both back on at one at a time, like that time. The second peg went on great. First peg didn't, or the first stitch did not. But I don't want to pull that bottom one off because I don't have to fight it back on. I'm going to use a second pick. See if I can just get that one. I'm not going to be able to. I'm going to turn this around for just a second. Okay. Sorry about this. I was trying to do it so you guys could see. This is the hardest part of the whole thing, is just trying to, at least with this yarn. I have used other yarns that are no problem to do this with because they're solid yarn strands. It's the fuzzy stuff that I have problems with. And you may not have this problem. There's that one back on. Re-catch that one. There we go. I just have problems with this yarn. Okay. Sorry. That would be somebody on Google Plus posting. Where were we at? Okay, so we've done to there. Now we're just going to knit all the way around, 2 through 12. So, knit peg 2, peg 3, peg 4, peg 5. Now this is where you have all these that are on peg 6, all those we've been wrapping, all of those go as one entire piece. Treat them all as one and knit them all over as one so you get them back to one strand. 7, peg 8, peg 9, peg 10, peg 11, oh, I just separated my yarn, and peg 12. Now, we're back here. So now the only peg that you should have a whole bunch of multiple strands on is peg 1. Now, those are going to stay just like that for the moment. As you can see, your cuff is out, and you can see the little leg starting to show through. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to knit, flat knit again, another 10 rounds. Okay, so we're going to come over here, and what you're going to do is all these right here on the one, that's all going to get flat knitted as one piece, same way we've been doing. This is where all of this bunch comes off. Okay, so there's peg 1, peg 2, 3, 4, peg 5, peg 6, peg 7, peg 8, 9, 10, 11, separate those, and 12. Okay, so that's one round. We're going to do 9 more rounds, and then I'll meet you back here to do the toe, which is done the same way we just did the heel. If you kind of look at it, if you can kind of see, if you look straight down, you can kind of see how right here, see how it's kind of, see right here where my finger's at? This is your heel part. That's how you can kind of see your heel right there. It's like kind of misshapen. So 9 more rounds, flat knitting, and I'll meet you back here. We'll do the toe the same way we just did the heel, and we will close it off, and we'll have a completed baby slipper. Okay, you guys, so that was to be your 10 rounds. So now we're fixing to do the toe. As you can see, this is our heel and our leg part and the little cuff, which you can leave up or fold down. I tend to fold it just because it makes it easier to continue working. Of course, it makes it look really stumpy at this point. So we have 10 rounds. Now we're going to work on the toe. I do still have my little piece, but I didn't cut it off yet. My cast on piece, and that's the piece where I caught with my hook. The joys of working with this yarn. So I'm going to go ahead and snip my little tail. He's now gone. Now, to do the toe, we do the exact same steps we did to do the heel. So, we're going to knit over 5, 2, 4, 5. So I'm going to do it like that. Mainly so I can see what I'm doing, so I can keep y'all where y'all can see. So peg 1, 2, 3, peg 4, peg 5. Okay. Lift peg 6, wrap it, replace the stitch, okay, it's not working, I'm trying to do it that way. Then 5, I'm going to do this for you guys. See, it's kind of hard. I feel like I'm getting my fingers all up in your way. So 5, 4, 3, can't see my, there it is, 2, lift peg 1 off, wrap it, if you can, having issues, put it down, back on, and back we go. We're going to knit peg 2, peg 3, lost my separation, peg 4, lift the stitch off of 5, wrap it, push it down, put that back on, back across we go. So 4, 3, lift off 2, wrap it, push it down, put your stitch back on. Knit off on 3, knit 4, knit both strings off of 5, lift both on peg 6, and wrap. Again, I'm going to use my fingers to hold the first one while I get, or attempt to get, the string back onto peg 6. Come on, come on. There we go. Recatch that one, put it back on. Then knit 5, knit 4, knit 3, knit everything on 2 as one piece. Pick everything up off of 1. We're going to wrap it and replace it, but I don't think that went right. So I'm going to snag loop 1. And I unwrap them sometimes, so if you have to unwrap right there, it's no big deal. There we go. Now, at this point, we're going to knit an entire circle all the way back and back over top of 1 to get everything knitted flat. So that one, nope, did I do that right? Oh, nope, sorry. I think I did that wrong. I did that wrong. Technically, that should have been an extra wrap on 2, not on 1. I messed that one up. So yeah, we should actually be knitting. So that should have been on the peg 2. You should have left peg 1 alone. But I boo-booed. Then you'll knit everything off on 6. Go back that way to peg 1 and add an extra one. I don't want to undo all of that from my mess up because that's a lot to try to finagle. We'll see if it causes an issue. But once you've done all 6, back to 2, lift it on 1 and replace, and you go around, you go all the way around. I hope that makes sense. The directions are actually really, really clear. They're not that hard to understand, I don't think. Hopefully this will help if it is. Except for where I boo-booed. But it's a 1 flat knit round. And everything off there. And then you're done. That is your baby little booty sock. You're going to cut you some string. I try to go around it at least once or just less than once. It depends. It's kind of up to you how you want to do it. I typically go just less than 1, but that's my preference. You can kind of do it however you want to do it. I'm going to move my pick out of the way. You're going to need to get your needle on this. Now you can use these metal ones or the plastic ones that are like this. That's fine. I use these for crocheting that are straight. I don't tend to use them on loom knitting. For loom knitting, I tend to get these right here. I get one of the shorter ones out. Those come with a set of 4, short and long, but it's a metal needle. Now, as you can see down here, it's got a bent end. I prefer the bent end just to make it easier to get up underneath of on the pegs for the work. So This yarn is so hard to get it to these needles because it wants to go everywhere. Everywhere. Come on. And of course, because I'm trying to do this for you guys and show you guys, it doesn't want to work for me. Okay, and technically, I'm going to show you guys two different ways of doing this. So you have your needle. You're going to do a graphing cast off. So you're going to go from about here to here, to here, to here, to here, to here. You're going to work your way back and forth across the entire thing. Now, if you want, and you don't want to use your needle, you can also use your hook and go that way to do it. I came off of this peg, so I always go automatically. I'm trying to see you guys can see. My yarn is coming off of peg 1. Oops, sorry, my stomach is making noises. It's getting hungry. So I'm going to come and do peg 12, then back across and do peg 1. And then back and forth. If you leave yourself a really, really long tail, you can go back and forth and do the entire thing at one time. I don't do that. I don't like wasting the yarn with having a super long tail. So I tend to do as far as I can go without making my tail come off. So I've done 4. Now I'll leave the one on that I've got the yarn coming out of because I don't want to have it flopping around just yet. But I'll do that one, I'll do that one, and I'll do that one. Okay. And then I kind of pull it because then it gives me more extra yarn. Now, then I'll do this one. And sometimes you can even do it like that. Like this one just popped off of the actual peg as I was doing it. That's fine. It's kind of a whatever you're comfortable with. I'm fine with it popping off, mainly because I've done these enough. But I keep pulling the string as I go back and forth, and it gives me extra string on my needle to work with, so I don't have to use as much as I would on the, if I were to take and have cut an huge tail, I could have got back and forth. But since I'm trying to conserve yarn, because I do these to donate to babies, I want to make sure I get as many out of my yarn as I possibly can. And you see how I'm just pulling them off as I go. I'm just pulling them off the peg. Because once I've caught that yarn, that peg's yarn on the hook, it's not going anywhere. So, I mean, it's completely safe to pull it off of the peg because your work is secure on your yarn. Okay, last peg. Needle through. And I take it off like that. And I just have to get it off the peg a lot easier. And then you just kind of tighten it up. You just kind of pull it, tighten it up. And I put my fingers in there and kind of wiggle it so that it looks, now it looks really, really small, which is fine. Some of them I've made, they look a little longer, some look fatter. They stretch depending on how you're pulling your yarn as you're doing it. So don't worry. Okay, but there's my toe. Still got my string. I just kind of stick it through. And then flip my entire sock. Pull it through. And then you're just going to tie it off however you want to tie it off. Of course, mine came off the needle, which is no big deal. I like to just put a knot or two, little bitty knots. They're as close to the sock as I can. Snip it, throw away that little piece, or you can keep them for different projects if you have some kind of project. I've actually heard some people say they actually keep their yarn pieces they cut off and give them to birds to make their little nest with. So fold that down. I'll fold that way too far down. And there you have it, a baby booty. So you guys, today we are making a baby booty. It's got the little cuff. They can wear it like this with it up to give it an extra long leg, or fold the little cuff down and give it a cute little look. So this is what we're going to make. So let's get started.